Hello, livestock friends, and welcome to this edition of Before the Bid. This is a podcast dedicated to the livestock sales industry where we go behind the scenes of the operation and speak straight to the sellers. We discuss topics about the important aspects of their operation, location, the people behind the prep work, and talk about some of the animals that will be offered to you, the prospective buyers. Hopefully, you've got your sale catalog close by. You might have to go look through that pile on your desk. But if not, then you're probably like me and driving down the road or busy with chores around the farm. And that's okay too. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy this segment of Before the Bid. I'm your host, Andy Howell. Welcome, livestock friends, to this edition of Before the Bid podcast. And man, I am fired up. One, because I know a little bit about what's going to happen. Usually I talk to these guys for quite a while, and I kind of know the story that we're going to go through. This one, I just know the tip of it. And so I am excited about that. And I'm excited because I get to catch up with a friend of mine that we met up last year and did a podcast. And, man, this guy is just awesome. And so just really excited to get to talk to him again and visit with him. And a guy that, you know, he went to college and he was a D2 quarterback, and he ended up going to A&M, and he ends up as a linebacker. So if you've listened to all our podcasts, you kind of know who I'm talking about. And we're going to Sweetwater, Texas, which is in West Texas. And we're talking to a guy that worked at the V8 ranch for quite a few years. And then he got the opportunity to move on and closer to where his wife is from. So he continued on with an operation called QB Cattle Company, and he breeds American cross cattle. And so I am just really fired up to have Kolten Thigpen back with us here on Before the Bid podcast. And ever since we did the podcast, I followed him on Facebook. And guys, if you are not following Kolten Thigpen on Facebook, you need to. One, because his Facebook tells a cattle story like you wouldn't believe. Cattle like crazy on there. A lot of American cross cattle, which is pretty exciting to some of us that may not be used to those. And a guy that's just inspirational. If you watch his Facebook lives, some of those things that he does, videos he puts on there, a guy that just does a nice job of motivating people, and I'm sure that's why he gets a lot of these people to come back to him to buy these livestock from him, because he just uses the livestock to help influence young people. So, Kolten, am I kind of right on that? What I was thinking?
I hope you are. That would be my intention, but I fall short quite a bit.
Right, but we all fall short a little bit, but we keep right on rolling, right?
Yes, sir.
And you can just tell from the Facebook pictures and things like that man, that's where your heart is, and you care about these young people, and you care about their success with your cattle or anybody's cattle, right?
Yeah, it's kind of what drives me. It's my passion to be able to have a platform where I can have influence. Love seeing the growth, seeing their lives transformed, and seeing them achieve things that they never thought were possible until they got in the middle of it. It's just I love watching them grow and their journey.
Right, and you even do a sale that's a lot different, because to
Correct.
even have a chance to buy these cattle of yours, they have to submit an essay and things to talk about some of the positive things, and answer some questions about positivity things, and growth, and where they started and where they are, right?
Sure. And that's been kind of a evolving process of sale as well. They call it the Heart of the Champion sale. Basically, it's a way to get the kids to take ownership from the beginning and get them involved. And they submit an essay, all of them answering the same questions based on the effort that they put into it, and just the quality of work they do. It just kind of sets the stage for the order in which they get to come through and buy the cattle and pick. And so the ones that do the best, I try to reward them equally to their work. So it's been a good process, and got kids involved, and not just the parents going out and buying the cattle, and the kids take ownership. And it's just been a fun process to watch evolve grow.
Right, and those young people take more ownership in those because they had to work their tails off to get
Yeah,
the chance to even be involved in that thing.
sure, sure. And it's helped me in my program because it attracts the kids that aren't scared to put in the extra work. And so, um, even if, say, a submission wasn't as good as its contemporaries, you're still getting a kid that was willing to do something extra and try to go out there and do something not every kid would do to try to get a KEF. And those kids end up still having great success. And so it's been great all the way around. And I keep trying to find ways for that to grow and stay a part of the process, because it's, as we grow and have more numbers, and the coronavirus stuff, I've just been trying to keep it implemented and keep it productive.
Right. What are you going to do when you get 150 essays coming in from these young people that want those? You going to have time to sit down and read all those?
We've had the most I've had is 85,
Oh wow.
and so it's a little time consuming. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot more reading than I think I want to do.
yeah, and especially whenever you have 85 and you're offering 20 calves or something, it's that's a lot of kids that are putting a lot of work that aren't getting one.
Right. I just think that's great. When you told me about that, I thought that was awesome. And if you go down to his Facebook page, he did an announcement about that and a video on that, and you can just see the passion that he has in his heart for that sale and for those young people. So I know I think that's really an awesome program that he's got going on there. Colton, we've got a lot of things to talk about here, but one of them is to continue on with like the Heart of Champion sale and some of those cattle that you've sold. You've had a heck of a run here the last couple months of cattle in these shows, Houston, San Antonio, different shows like that. And if you would, kind of tell us a little about that and some of those successes that you guys have had.
First of all, I appreciate that, and it was a great year for our families and people part of the QB brand and team, from the consigners who raised the cattle to all the kids and families who bought in and just did a great job all year. We had multiple calves throughout the summer, winning hardware for kids. And then I think we had two American calves win their county shows. And one of them was the first ever in that county for an American calf to get a piece of the show. We went on and branded calves at every single Texas major, had banner at Houston, champion Brahman there, and 5 others brand. We sold 8 Brahmins last year. 6 went into the show ring, and 5 of them branded and sold at the Texas majors. So it was a cool feat, and nice to watch those kids have some success with them.
For some of us Eastern guys that may not know what they got branded means, will you explain that just a second?
Yeah, so we're very fortunate here in Texas that our sales at these shows are very good to the kids, and there's a lot of backing behind them. But these are like 2,000 to 3,000 head shows, and the top end of each class, they make a sales spot, whether it be the top 3, top 5, top 8, or whatever. It's weighted by percentage on how big the class is. They'll make the sale, and the calves that make the sale get branded. So Houston brands the bow-legged H Cowboy, and if you get branded, that means you're in the money. And so it's a big feat to even get pulled. Those are big 40 head classes, and they'll pull like their top 15, then place those in your top whatever 3 to 5 brand. And if you get pulled, it's a great thing. If you get branded, it's even better.
Right. Yeah. So every class is kind of like some other people would be winning the show, just to get branded.
Yeah, they're big competitive shows. I mean, there's cattle that don't get pulled in their class at one show that can go to the next one and win it. It's just that competitive, and so it's a real honor to brand anywhere. But we always try to chase banners like everybody else, and those breed champions stuff sell real good and set up scholarship programs for the kids through those breed champions. And so we've been fortunate. Every year we've had the Heart of Champions sale. We've had at least one banner at a Texas major.
Wow, that's awesome. So you taught them a little bit about getting into it, and then you taught them a little more about getting their calf ready, and they see the success there at the end with a brand on it.
Yeah, it's a fun process.
How many of those club calves do you sell in a year's time? Is the only ones at the Heart of Champions?
No, we'll do some private treaties as well, especially, it started out, we would offer like 15 to 20 in the Heart of Champion. And then after that was over, we'd have a younger group, we'd sell private treaty. But our calf crops have gotten bigger through the growth of our herds and opportunities and land and stuff. So we're selling more cattle, and it's harder to sell that many with that Heart of Champion process. So it involved this year to the kids that submitted a essay, and rather than submitting for a particular calf, they submitted for the opportunity to come in and buy private treaty before it was open to the public. Mm-hmm. And this year we sold about 55 head and have a handful more to sell.
That's cool. That's a lot of people coming into your program, and a lot of people to take care of and follow and roll the whole way with.
You bet. You bet. Definitely.
So you probably spend a lot of time on the phone and a lot of time on the road and a lot of time taking care of those young people.
Yeah, that's a big thing. The more I sell, I don't want to be taken away from that part of it. I want the service to those families to be even better. So I'm trying to build my team and trying to build a little time to be able to go do that.
Right. You got a couple guys that can clip on the team instead of you having to do it.
Yeah, I can shear them, but I don't even like doing that. But when it comes to clipping and fitting, man, I'm a bad steer jock. Fortunately, we got Jason Holder there on staff, and he's a good team player. He's getting old. He don't like bending over and doing those bellies and stuff, but he's way better than he thinks he is on that clipping, and it's been a blessing to have him around whittling on those for sure.
Right. Yeah, Kolten and I were talking a little earlier about clipping cattle and getting things ready for pictures, and he told me that, so I thought I'd just have to jab him just a little on that one.
Yeah, I like breeding them. I don't like clipping them.
Well, that's good. That's good. There's times I wish we had a lot more guys more interested in breeding than we do clipping them. So,
sure.
So I can have a lot of appreciation for that. So. Yeah, and you guys got a little more going on around there. You recently moved, right?
Yes, sir.
You were away from the cattle, a bit away from the operation, not very far, but not on the operation, and you kind of made that change, right?
Yeah, so we've made two moves, I guess. 2 years ago, we made the move to Sweetwater and kind of made running these cattle our full-time gig. But Sarah and I bought a little house in town, and then this year her parents offered us the opportunity to buy their home place and with the barn and stuff, and so we moved again and bought kind of our dream place and the house Sarah was able to grow up in, and they've been enjoying it just right here. It's good because it's convenient for me, but she can go out in the back porch and yell at me to come inside. I used to be able to say, "Oh, I'm not in reception," so just not answer the phone, but now she's in yelling distance.
Yeah, you kind of didn't do yourself any favors there, did you?
Right.
Now she can call you and see that you picked up your phone and didn't answer it right.
Exactly. Yeah, when I see she's calling, I got to look around, make sure she's not watching.
So tell us just a bit. Who else did you move? Because you also had another addition since we talked the last time on the last podcast.
Oh, Brexton. Yeah, he's 8 months old now, and has not slept all the way through the night yet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's a joy during the day, but golly, that boy needs to learn to sleep at night.
Yeah. So you got Brexton, and then you got Lawson, and Lawson's growing up enough. You got him on some videos there on Facebook out wrestling calves.
Yeah, he's halfway turning into a hand. I'm enjoying that free labor.
Right. Wait till he's about 12, and then he'll realize the value of $1, right?
yeah, exactly.
Hey, Dad, what am I going to make here for doing this?
Uh,
Yeah, and then
I
you
don't
got
know. Ask your grandpa.
and then you got Sarah that keeps everything all together, right?
No, that is 100% fact.
Right. Yeah, we were actually trying to get the sound set up here, and he had Sarah helping him figure out the best way to get this sound set up. And man, guys, I wish you could see him because we are doing a we're doing a Facebook Messenger, so we can see each other. And man, you guys got to see this headset he's got on because it's really good.
He's pretty jealous of my pink headphones. I
They are pretty awesome. They are pretty awesome. So you moved out there and you've got another operation going on there that we talked a little bit about last time, but again, I want to hit on it again. You've got Bull Nanza going on right there
Yeah.
where you're living right now. So
Yes, sir.
if they don't know about Bull Nanza, what's Bull Nanza?
Bonanza is something that's evolved and evolved in a hurry. And our location and what we do in our facility has just opened up a lot of opportunity. And we're just providing a service to those in our show calf industry. Started out, we're a bull collection facility, and that's been great since day one that we opened the doors. We've been blessed with just a lot of action, a lot of bulls coming in and out. You know, bulls from Newman and Horn and 111, and just guys and bulls that I've idolized. And now we're getting to work with and collect and just make their genetics available to everybody is neat. Then we also started a genetic testing portion of the company. We opened up a lab where we're testing for THDS and PHA, and we pride ourselves in getting your results within 2 weeks of when we get the sample. It's going to be the fastest in the world on getting your results on those particular tests. We focus on doing just those tests solely. That's really taken off. And then we've also started, we do our semen sales, of course, shipping out all over the country on these top end bulls. And we just now signed with Repro Logics and our satellite donor facility for them, and excited to partner up with them and start doing that. So we're just trying to be available and of service to kind of every facet of our industry.
Right. Yeah, and that's awesome. And you got your own cattle that you're doing and that you're
Yeah.
breeding and that you're growing this herd.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. QB Cattle Company. It's been my baby since, I don't know, came up with the name in 7th grade, and we've had a family sale born, and so I kind of traded cheap calves and built up a little money. And in high school, I bought my first actual good heifers, and then when I started getting serious was probably 2011, 2012. Whenever I was at V8, had the opportunity to have some lease land and stuff, I doubled down on this whole flushing deal. I'd never done any of that before, so I committed to a strict regimen on what my standard was going to be for the donors, and started flushing them and keeping those females, and grew it to what it is today by kind of intense selection on those donors and intense flush work.
Right. And you're flushing quite a few donors.
Yeah, well, I'll flush probably, I would say about 20 cows a year, transfer 160 embryos or so a year.
Okay. So just keep growing that and keep using the best and doing that, and that's why you're able to have so much success at Houston and San Antonio's and things like that, right?
Yeah, it's way too competitive to be mediocre, and God's blessed me with opportunity and work ethic. So we just been nose to the grindstone on it.
Right. And so yeah, you got to keep going, and you got to have your nose to the grindstone with the cattle, the bull nanza, the moving, the two boys and the family and
Yeah.
all of that stuff that you got going on.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So, Colton, you sent me a message today, and it was a picture, and it's got a really cool picture on it, and I'm guessing it's a sale banner that
Yep.
you're going to put on there, and it had on there the climb.
Yes.
So I want to get to that. Like I said, I know just a little bit, but I don't want to miss a little bit of build up to this a bit, because tell us a little about the herd history that you have. What are you breeding? What are you doing? What are you looking for? What's kind of your goals with the herd with the QB cattle company? You know, we talked. You started
Sure.
a while ago. You're doing a lot of flushing. Kind of what's your parameters with some of those things, and what's your goals with some of those?
Yeah, I mean, outside of catching up with you, the big reason for the podcast is this big climb sale, and this was a idea that I've been fighting, but it's you notice that it says going all in and blazing a trail on the road less traveled, and we'll get into that in a second on just what all is going to be in the sale. But on my herd, I've taken a lot of pride in maintaining a certain standard of quality. And whenever I started flushing, I wanted to make sure, and now it's kind of like, well, duh. But whenever I started, there wasn't just a whole lot of people flushing, and I committed to where 95% of my calf crop every year was embryo calves. So if
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have good results flushing, I didn't have good calf crop.
Mm-hmm.
And on those donors, I wanted them to. I didn't buy them, or I didn't buy a flushing them if they didn't have a track record of fertility and producing good numbers in the flush world. So I wanted them to average at 10 embryos or better per flush. I want them to have a good udder, and I wanted, whether it be you, me, the biggest dog, or someone who's not even in the industry, they could look at that animal and just tell that there was quality.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted some visual appeal, and then I wanted the genetics behind them. I wanted at least each one of their parents to hold the same standard of which they were. And so I was pretty selective and took about a year on not owning a animal and just finding those that I wanted to start with. Started there, flushing that type, and then kept those females and built on them, and then added some new ones that met that standard along the way, and each year has been more and more successful. And I can honestly say that right now at this moment, my herd is as good as it's ever been and as profitable as it's ever been. And I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, and you've put some stuff up on Facebook, and yeah, you're tearing things up, and you've got some cow families that are really doing well, and the flushes that are really working well.
Yes,
So
it's been very blessed for sure.
yeah, and I got to tell you too, we we're not used to the American cattle or the American cross cattle up here, and I mean we've got some Santa Gerts and things like that, but for the most
Yeah,
part we're not really used to those cattle. And your cattle have such quality that my 14-year-old daughter has fallen in love with these American cross cattle, and
there we go.
she follows everything that you do, and she's always coming to me, Dad, check this one out from Kolten, check this one out that Kolten put up there, and she's
Sure.
she's ready to wade in. I don't know what we would do with them up
Yeah.
here, but man, she's ready to
Well,
wade in, and I mean
you
I
you
appreciate
make
good
northern
cattle as
cattle
well.
better. That's what you do with them.
You make northern cattle better.
Yeah. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. They may not be able to hold up the winter as well up here because you guys got a little bit of cold of that. Can we break away from just a minute?
Yeah.
Like I said, we got so many things. You guys had so much cold down there here in the last couple months.
It,
How did these cattle fare?
surprisingly well. We lost one commercial cow out of about 450. That was the only cow that we lost, and she was kind of sick going into the deal, and
Mm-hmm.
we just couldn't get to her to doctor good enough. And the Brahman cattle did well. I know a lot of people that have had trouble with cattle splitting pregnancies because we breed in December, and this hit us in what was it, early February.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of short pregnancies that people after the fact started having cows that slipped those pregnancies and stuff. And we just did another round of palpating, and ours, thank God, did well. And so cattle were tough. We were able to fare, had a lot of help during that time. Everybody was survival mode, but I'm always just so whenever I was down south at V8, we went through Hurricane Harvey, and it's just so impressive whenever traumatic things happen, just people come together and help other people.
Right.
It's always neat to see.
And relentless.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were telling me some stories. You hear about all the power outages and things in Texas, and all the problems
Sure.
that happened. And what did you guys experience?
Yeah. So fortunately for me and my crew, we didn't lose any power. We did lose water to the barn, and we had about 75 head in the barn with bulls, show steers, and stuff like that. And our main line froze underground, and we couldn't. There's no way to know where exactly it was to be able to fix it. So fortunately, our fire station, they couldn't accept payment to get water from them, so we took them a whole ice chest full of steaks. And boy, every time we showed up, they'd be filling those totes up in a hurry, and they came in clutch for us. They could fill a tote up in, I think it took 45 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And so that's kind of what we would do all day, is truck those totes back and forth, make sure all the cattle were watered. And it seemed like if they got a drink of fresh water, they would feel good, even though it was 0 degrees out there. And we set up a lot of round bells for wind blocks, and I think that helped. The cattle that couldn't get out of the wind are the ones that did worse. The cattle that could get out of the wind managed.
Right. And just rolled right on it. You guys had another farm with a tractor that you had to take matters into your own hands a little bit.
Yeah. So at that place, all we had is tank water, and the tanks froze. And the only way we could bust them is with a front end loader of a tractor. So we didn't have a barn out there where that tractor was. It was actually the neighbor's tractor, and so we just left it running for 3 or 4 days. Never turned it off, and yo-yoed it back and forth from his tanks to our tanks. It was a fun ordeal for sure. Glad it's over.
Now, is this a cab tractor? So you had the heat on? You had the heat going the whole time?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a cab tractor.
so when you got in there, you were like, oh my, I think I'm going to stay in here a while, huh?
You know what blew my mind the most? When you get out with your axe or baseball bat or whatever your weapon of choice is to bust this ice, and you break through the ice, get to the water, and it splashes on you. And you don't even get wet because it turns to ice. And it's like, and then you get into the heater, and then you get wet because all the ice starts melting. It's like, God, you can't win for losing in this crap. I don't know how y'all northern boys do
it. We're just tough, I guess.
Yeah, ignorant. I don't know.
That too, and it takes us a lot more electricity to get those waters heated and things like that. So,
right.
Yeah, but yeah, some of those guys do. So,
yeah, I don't want any more of it. You can have it.
you got to move farther south now, so that you never do have that problem.
Well, I don't know. I think I'm good here because I was further south, and that humidity and mosquitoes is kind of good, easy to get unused to.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. That man, I was like I told you, I was thinking about you guys when all that was going on, and and jokingly laughing just a bit because now you guys got a little bit of taste of what we get 4 months out of the year up here, and we're actually blessed here compared to a lot of others. So, but yeah, I was thinking about you guys and hoping things were going well. So
we made it through.
So you've got this herd that you kept going since kind of you started in high school. You went down to V8, and some other people kind of took care of your cattle a little bit, but then you kind of had them down there at V8 as well, right?
Well, in college, I kept the cattle at home, and my dad would help. And every weekend or chance I got, I'd go home and AI or do that sort of thing. But when we were in a real bad drought here in Texas towards the end of my college career, and I sold everything but a couple donors, and they kept that money to kind of shop the next year for those specific donors like I was talking about. So my first year at V8, I didn't really have any cattle.
Mm-hmm.
I did my shopping and made a bought some flushes on those top donors and made me an embryo bank. And then my second year there, Sloan actually said, "Hey, we talking. I think you're doing a good job. We'd love to give you a raise. Would you like raising money, or would you like a lease place?" Well, lease place. And so he gave me a lease place for my raise, and I put those embryos in a guy's set of cows and bought all of the ones that took from him and rolled from there.
Right. Yeah, and then now that you're back, I guess you could say home,
Yeah,
Sarah's home place.
yeah,
You've got them there, and keep breeding on them and flushing on them and putting those in
yeah.
recips and doing those things with that, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, are you breeding American cattle, or do you have exotics and breeding those to American cattle? How does this American
Yeah,
cross thing work for you?
yeah. So here at our Texas majors, we have all the exotic breeds, all the British breeds, and then we have like I think five different American breeds. My niche in the soft spot of my heart has always been for the half blood Brom. Uh, that's one of the American breeds. They got to appear to be half blood Brahmin or more, and that's kind of been my niche. That's the breed I don't want to get beat in. That's the breed I want to set the standard in and kind of move the bar. And all the other ones, like my exotics, I'll have exotics, but it's mainly making those Brahmins. I use top end donors. So like donors I have that are exotics, other people would be using to make other exotics trying to win the show.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am flushing them to Brahmins trying to win the Brahmin show.
Right.
But it's been good and it's been profitable for me. When I do breed them exotic, it's usually trying to get females, so I can continue to do the same thing without having to buy other genetics.
But now you do have some heavily Brahmin influenced cows.
So those females that I get that are half Brahmin, you have some options with those. I can breed them Brahmin as well and get those Brahmin classifying steers, or I can breed them exotic and get a quarter blood Brahmin that classes in all the American classes. And there's just, once you get into those American influence deals, it's just a wild mixture of mutt. As long as they keep some of that characteristics, the bigger ears and navel, everything else, you want to look like an exotic that could go in the exotic show. They just have the extra character to get in that American.
Right. So you're breeding to some of those exotic club calf bulls to get some of those steers.
Yeah, like one of my top cows is Cessna, and she's branded calves out of every bull I've bred her to. But like In God We Trust, Sugar Bear, the General, she has hit with all of them. But I can take those top end, popular, exotic, and breed them to these American cows and still get American class calves.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
cool. And they look just like exotics, other than a little bit of ear, a little bit of sheath,
yeah,
and so they've got some of that quality in them, and that I
sure,
just it's something that we're not used to up in my country, and I sure do like seeing those. So
yeah.
well, let's get back to the climb. And I hope we've got this thing built up enough because, guys, I don't know exactly what's going on here, but I know Kolten's got a big announcement here, and he wanted to come on the podcast and explain some of this a bit. And who calls their sale the climb, right? Uh, and so there's something big coming, and so Colton. I don't know how else, and I can't hang on anymore. What's going on here, man?
So this sale, the climb, like I said earlier, I've been fighting doing it, and it says blazing a trail on the road less traveled, and on the bottom it says going all in May 27th. So May 27th on SC Online Sales, we're going to have what's our normal breeding stock sale like we advertised last year, except this year every single animal that's I own that's breeding stock is going to be in all in.
Now this doesn't make any sense to me, Colton. You've bred these for years, since high school. We just talked about that. You are now at Sarah's parents' place, right there, where you
Yep,
don't have to travel back and forth. You don't have to do any of that. You've got everything right there, and now you're going to offer all these cattle.
that's the plan.
I do. I have to tell people that Colton sent me that text, and he says, "Hey, we got a special thing going on here. And we're going to offer them all." And my jaw dropped. I walked in the other room, and I told Brandy, I said, "Colton just texted me." She's like, "Uh huh," and I said, "He's offering everything, all the breeding stock that he has in this next sale, and he wants us to announce it on Before the Bid
Yeah.
podcast." She dropped her jaw and said, "What is going on?" And I said, "I don't know, but we're gonna get it out of him." So Colton, what made you come to this decision?
So I want really, really, really bad to be able to tell you that I have this perfect, grandiose plan, and it'll all make sense whenever I lay it out to you. But that's just not the truth. This is something a couple months ago God laid on my heart and kind of prompted me to do. And for a couple months, every single day, I fought it and fought it and fought it until I figured it was probably best that I not try to figure it out myself and that I listened to God. After all, He did create me and the universe, so it's probably best to listen to that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a step of faith that isn't a pleasant one, but I don't feel like it's for me to get out of the business. I've seen too much fruit in how God has blessed me with impacting others and impacting these kids' lives, and I am offering these, but it's not a getting out type sale. I don't want it to have the feel of a dispersal. I don't want it to have the feel of a all in, all done. It's it's the climb. It's a, something God has called me to do, and it may be 5 steps back, but I'll figure out why and how it's going to spring me forward. Um, and that's why I called it the climb, because the climb isn't always easy. And I think I said in your last podcast, success isn't the destination, it's the journey. And I thoroughly enjoy the process. I enjoy the climb. And so that part doesn't scare me at all. And whenever I was fighting this and just trying to be logical about it, because sometimes God's plans can be unlogical to us mere humans, wrote out pros and cons, right? And the pros were actually a whole lot bigger and longer, extensive list than what I anticipated going into it, and the cons was shorter. And each and every con that I had on there, why you shouldn't do this, had to deal directly with my pride. And so, whether this is something God is trying to change in my character through it, and or show and help somebody else, I have to be faithful in doing it. And people may say it's crazy, but that's fine. I'll be all right. And there'll be a lot of people that will get to better their herd, grow their herd, or start their herd through the process. And I'm excited to see where they go. I'm excited to see what they can do for people. I'm not getting out of a bad deal. I truly believe that my cattle are as good as they've ever been right now. They're definitely more profitable than they've ever been right now. And I'm hesitantly excited to share all these opportunities in genetics and cattle with y'all.
I think that's awesome. What a leap of faith that is, and you didn't tell him to shut up and go away. You let him get to
Oh,
you.
I did. I sure did.
Well, but in the end,
Yeah, I, I don't want to come across like I pat myself on the back like, oh, I'm dragging my feet, but I know that it's something that he wants me to do, and so we're doing it.
right? So you told your dad that you were going to do this, and
Yeah,
what was his reaction?
about like years times two. He
Only he says,
he like
"I kept these cattle for you while you were away for college, and now you're
yeah,
gonna."
yeah. His eyes got big. 5 seconds later, they blinked once, and then he said, "What?" And actually, what he told me after that is something we had never talked about, and it it really was a special thing for him to say to me. He said, I always thought that this was like your calling, what you were supposed to do, and you're talented with the cattle, but that's not what I'm talking about. He said that the lives that you've impacted and the families that have grown through your impact, and that was very humbling to hear, and it's something that I didn't see, and that he did, and it coming from him was special. And so kind of words of affirmation and stuff like that make me also know that it's not for me to get out of the business, that if God's producing good fruit through it, that part needs to continue. And so right now, like I said, I don't know all the whys of why he's having me do this. I feel like when the sale's over and done, I'll know exactly why, and then we'll put our nose to the grindstone and go after what he has for us next. But right now, my plan is, and my thinking is, I'll have a little bit more time, a little bit more means to commit to my service of the kids and families that have invested and have cattle right now. And so I can travel a little bit more, see them, pour into them a little bit more, go to some more of the shows with them, and just be a little bit more involved in the people rather than the cattle.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what I'm thinking that we're gearing towards. It's not getting out of the business. It's changing perspective, changing gears, changing priority in it, and just climbing a different way. You may have to go down a couple steps, side step, fall, scrape your knee, but we're gonna keep climbing. We're gonna get there.
And so, what is your plan to kind of build back?
Oh, I have no idea.
You say you're not getting out, but I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have any idea? You're just if cows
Uh,
come and show up, why here they are, right?
well, I mean, the good thing is, so since I moved up here and teamed up with my father-in-law, a lot of my embryos that I put in are in his commercial cows. So I'll still have an embryo calf crop coming this year. And I have some embryos in the tank. So I could literally have a calf crop for 2 years, and just pray to God he gives me a plan on how to build before then. And I think it'll be good. And it's going to be hard to let go of some of these cows and what they have done for me, what they're currently doing for me. I mean, I'm talking about cows that, like 5319. I've flushed her twice, and she has made over $80,000 of progeny, and I've sold every single bull calf that she's had as a show steer. And just unreal kind of numbers from a couple of these. The little heat cow who we talked about, we bannered at Houston this year. She's had 4 bull calves for me, every single one of them branded at the Texas Majors, one of them bannered. And that was one of the most incredible half bloods I've ever seen. And so he was, as a Brahmin going into the Houston drive, he legitimately was in the conversation of trying to get slapped for the overall. And so that was just a humbling deal. And so a cow like that's in there, and there's just some awesome stuff that's crazy to sell. But I'm excited to see, God's plans are better than mine, obviously. So we're going to go with that.
Right. Well, let's step back just a second. You talked about the 5319 cow. Do you want to talk about a few of these cows and talk about some families and things like that will
Sure.
be offered?
Yeah, we can. So looking at the sale and what I got and trying to make the sale order and stuff, and it's going to be roughly 60 to 65 head, and most of those, I'd say 50 head of those 60 plus are going to come from 5 different cow families. That 5319 is probably my newest donor, so shortest lifespan of a cow family, but the impact she's had as fast as she's had has been crazier. Very first calf, Horn raised this one over in Anson. Our very first calf won the Red Angus deal in Houston, and he was pretty dominant in his win. That was a very special calf. He'd won all year for the Payne family. Then I buy her with her second one inside, sell that calf for $5,000, and then I get the flushing on her. Her first 2 flushes, she gave me 16 embryos apiece. I mixed flushed both those times, so 4 different bulls ended up getting put in her on those 2 flushes. I had calves out of every bull. Every bull produced a $10,000 one. Every bull that was produced sold to be a show calf, and all those littermate sisters are going to be offered here in this sale.
Oh, wow. And she's a good one.
Oh man!
Send me some pictures, and oh my gosh.
So one of my mentors, Dennis Poole, he always told me, you're gonna be enticed to just keep crossing and keep crossing, but try your best to keep your cows half something. That they'll be more maternal, they'll be more productive, they'll be more predictable. This cow is out of the 11-620 bull, which goes back to Horn's foundation very best donor, the 620 cow, on a Letty Red Angus cow. So she's half Red Angus, and then on the top side has Horn's best cow in there, one generation back. And so she's just loaded with cow power, and thank God she generates as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next, you talked about the Little Heat cow. Do you want to expand on her just a little more?
Yeah, Little Heat is one that she has a legacy heifer that's selling in there. She's bred right now. She's due to calve any day. In fact, whenever we get off here, I need to go check her and make sure she's not calving. But she had that one flush of I flushed her. She made 8 eggs, 8 pregnancies, and 4 bull calves on the deal. They sold between $5,000 and $11,000. Every one of them branded. Every one of them won a summer show. 3 of them showed at their county and won the American division at their county. Then you had the one that was dominant at Houston and was my favorite half-blood calf of all time, shown by the White family. There's 3 sisters that are going to be offered in the sale, fleshmate sisters to those, and they're breeding age, ready for a bull. Pretty special individuals.
Wow.
I bred her naturally to the Rock. The Rock represents another one of the cow families, 855, and she has a red American heifer calf out of the Rock that was just weaned about a month ago, and she is an absolute tank. She'll be fun to see. I'll have to, whenever I make the lot order, I'll let you know which one she is. She's incredible.
Yeah, and she's got to be being out of this female. I mean, if you can have a pasture full of these females walking around, why they would keep you in a business, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, so she's cool. I want to see that Rock because I got a little girl around here that every time the Rock comes up, she's showing him to me or whatever. So
hey, and that's another thing. Rock is going to be in the sale. Everybody's like, "You're not selling Rock, right?" He's 100% possession and 50% semen interest is going to be on the Rock in the sale.
I hope she doesn't hear that. Oh my, that's awesome. Yeah, so the Rock in there as well.
Yeah.
And then you've got this Cessna cow that you mentioned.
That 2012, whenever I was at V8 and had my first set of embryos, really doubled down. Cessna was part of that very first embryo calf crop. And she has this year, every single bull I've bred her to, which is 6 different bulls, 5 of those matings have made a bull calf. Every single bull calf mating has branded at a major in 5 different breeds, 3 different shows. She's just been an absolute no miss. There's female after female that's going to be in here after. I flushed her to the Rock, and that's some of the young ones I had this year. Sold a few steers. There's 3 females that mating that are better than what she was when she was that age. They are probably the hardest to let go of. And there's a flush mate. There's 3 flush mate bull calves that are incredible. And one of them is not only of the quality of the heifers, but I think he's better than the Rock. And having that cow in there as well just makes things even more exciting. He's a special creature. The best half-blood. So it's half-blood on half-blood mating. So he should be more consistent with that, and is the most incredible built creature I've been able to raise as far as half-bloods go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what a success! And man, he pulled on you pretty hard. to be able to get rid of some of those.
Oh gosh, for Cessna's part of one of the oldest lineages I got. So her mama was part of the first set of cows I ever bought, and then I had Cessna, and Cessna's first calf was a heifer. It's another one of my donors called Lolita. Lolita's first calf was a heifer. That's Lolo, and she's going to be in the sale as well. So that's 4 generations deep. That'd be the oldest cow family I got. But man, that Cessna. I mean, what cow can you breed to 5 different breeds, 5 different bulls, create 5 different breeds, and it all work?
Right. Right.
From haired shows to slick shows. And to me, her breeding stock, her heifers, her bull prospects are better than what the steers are. So I'm pumped up and very excited and have full faith in that whole line.
Right. That would be exciting to be able to do that. Yeah, you got some cows that you can breed 1 or 2 and they kind of work, but when you breed them to
Right.
5 and they do that kind of good, why, man, that's really saying something.
Whenever I was at V8, Jim would always say the magic's in the cow. And a cow like that, and really all 3 cows that we talked about, they've all been bred to at least 3 different bulls and have worked to every single one of them. So it's, one, that proves that the magic is in the cows, and 2, those cows kind of make a dumb South Texas boy look smart.
You can't be. What is it? What is the line? You can't be too dumb if you're doing what you love, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, any other cow families we need to hit on for this sale?
Yeah. So there's probably cover 2 more cow families, which would blanket the sale, and that would be 855. That's a donor I bought half of with Frank Davis from Horn, and I bought her when she was stifled and 10 years old. And flushing her, she still was able to give us her first bull calf sold for $12,500. Her second bull calf sold for $77.50. She gave us 4 heifers, one being Super Sauce, which is a donor that's offered here in this sale. And her third bull calf was the Rock. And the Rock sold as a 3-month-old baby, half interest, for $21,500. And there's a lot of animals that do that, but he was at the time the very highest selling half-blood Brahmin in history. And if you value him double the half interest, he's still the highest selling. And him as a bull,
Right.
what you're seeing in this sale that's out of the Rock is his very first calf crop. He's still a young bull, and he's made that Rock Cessna calf that I call W that I think is possibly better than him in his first calf crop, and that's incredible and what bulls should be doing.
Right. Incredible.
She's no longer with us, but when I bought her, I bought half of her from Horn. It was when she was already 10 years old, and I paid $10,000 for half of her. And there's a lot of people said I was crazy, and then she made her very first 2 calves was my Super Sauce donor and a calf that sold for $12,500. So
look pretty smart, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Grandpa would probably frowned on you at first, and then again, like your one Angus, he said that might have been pretty smart, huh?
Right. Yeah, he would. I thought I taught you better.
And then you showed him that he did teach you pretty well, right? I still remember that story from the first podcast. I still laugh about that.
Yeah. Then the last cow family would go back to the old queen, Woodrow's mama. I have 2 fleshmate sisters in this sale that are donors of mine that are out of a bull called Milton, which has a horrible pedigree. He's a solid gold 620 from Horn, which won multiple major shows and counted up countless dollars. So you got Horn's best cow in that pedigree, you got solid gold, you got my best cow in that pedigree, and these 2 donors are just crazy powerful, crazy unique. and big number producing donors, and they're both sell bred. One to Cromwell's Kimbo, a new bull that he's promoting, and the other one to the Rock.
So using the rock and getting some more, right?
Yep, yep. A lot of these cows that'll be in here are going to be bred back to the Rock. He covered quite a few of them.
Okay. Natural service on those?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. You know, I don't even know if we mentioned when this sale is actually.
Yeah.
Kolten, tell us, I guess, tell us a little bit about that.
So right now we're gearing up for pictures, and the sale date is May 27th on SC Online Sales. It's all going to be one night, 60 some odd head, all that one night, and it's going to be anywhere from just weaned heifers to 10-month-old bull prospects to the Rock to donors to bred heifers. I mean, it's the whole gauntlet, every stage of the game. And when people say we're offering the best, they're keeping some, I promise. But in this one, I promise I'm not keeping any. There's guys, I don't, they've called me 2 or 3 times, being like, so 5319 is going to be in it, and that cow that made that best Brahman ever at Houston's going to be in it. Yeah. So we're offering them all, and proud to do it.
There's some guys that think you're crazy, I'm sure.
Oh, I don't know very many think I'm normal for sure.
Well, you're not normal. You're above. You're so far above normal. It's not even funny. But to offer that kind of offering, just crazy, and they all go.
They all go.
So 60 lots on SC. That might take a little while to get that thing closed down. You think?
Yeah, I was contemplating doing a live sale, and I was talking with my sales rep on SC, and I said I'm going back and forth on whether this type of sale needs to be live or whether I need to go through y'all. And he was, of course, encouraged me to do it through them. And my original thought was I was going to split it up and have a sale every night displaying the different cow families, and sell one cow family and all the offspring, this night. But it'll be a whole lot better for me and my family to manage the sale if it's all just one night, one time. Here they are. It's all the cattle. So let's do it all in one, all in. Let's rock and roll. And they said they'd be honored to do it. And they thought it would work still with that many. And so we're going to put it to the test.
Yeah. Making waves in another way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, guys, this guy is so awesome. I mean, he just is. If you can't tell through this, man, you got to see some of his Facebook stuff. You've got to I don't know, somehow you got to connect with this guy, and you can probably pick him out at any of the big major shows because his shirts are. If you can't pick this guy out in his shirt, I don't know. I don't know what you're looking at.
If they don't come off of a Facebook ad or from Goodwill or Ross Dress for Less clearance aisle that nobody else wanted, and I don't need them.
We like the big flower one. I don't remember where we were. Oh, we were looking on your Facebook, and there's one you got. I mean, huge flowers on this thing. Big old yellow flowers on this thing.
Hey, there's one I just got. One of my college buddies sent me a deal on Facebook, and he said, "Hey, I saw this and thought you may want to be interested." And it took me 2 seconds to buy one, and it just got in this week. It's like just a portrait of a bluebonnet field with cowboys on horses riding through it wide open, and it should be like a ugly portrait somewhere, but it's a full-blown shirt.
It's gonna be a Kolten Thigpen shirt.
That's right.
Well, Colton, what else? I guess what else do we need to know about this sale? What else do they need to know? What, are you going to keep them and summer them and then they can come get them, or you want them kind of gone there? That was a joke, but what's your thought? What's your thoughts on that?
So I really want to encourage people to come out and look at them. I know it's going to be online. It's not
Right.
convenient for everybody, but I have them all up right around the barn. We had a wheat field come up. Hopefully, we get a little rain actually today and tomorrow, and so things will be pleasant and pretty to view the cattle. I got the cows all in that wheat field, and then I got a smaller one just a mile down the road where the breeding age heifers are. And then up there around the barn, I have the bulls and the fresh weaned heifers and the ones that I'm watching calving and stuff like that. So it's it's a fun group to look at all stages of the game. You can see a lot of animals that are related to one another. You can see generations of what they go back to and how they were built and put together. Um, and then, there's some that aren't in these cow families that I'm extremely, extremely high on that I've either recently purchased or other people that use my genetics bought, raised, and I went out and bought them. I thought they fit the bill. And so uh, buying from guys like Chris Black and Horn, and they're just cattle that have full faith in, full confidence in, and I'm not getting out from under them. I'm reluctant to get rid of them because they're doing me a great job, and I'm, like I said, hesitantly excited to see what job they can do for somebody else.
Yeah, and as you say, everybody can come by and look at them
Yeah,
from whenever they hear this to up to sale day and
yeah,
get a live view of them.
yeah. Weather's been awesome here in Sweetwater, so come on out and would love to visit with you and show you around. Like I said, they're real easy to look at right up here close. And after sale day, I guess I'll load them up and you can pick them up. And this is a cool opportunity for people. I'm excited for the people that know about it already. Some of the younger kids like looking to start a herd. They're excited to see what they can get. And then you have some guys that are anxious to add a donor or something into their program. And then, there's some people that, hey, they may want to try and buy the whole deal. They can just move established herd from one place to another and just keep it rolling. And I'm excited to kind of see how it plays out, where it shakes out, and where they end up going. Because, like I said, I have full faith in what these cattle are doing, and right now they're hotter than ever. And I'm kind of pumped up to write about the individual sale lots. When you sell stuff that you're just trying to sell, it isn't near as fun. But whenever you're selling the good stuff, you can come up with those good sale lines, and
Right.
I'm looking forward to sitting down and writing them.
And you've had some neat ones on your Facebook page, and I kind of could tell there's something going on with
Yeah,
this guy because you've got some of these cows up there, and then got some of those pictures on there on your Facebook page, and yeah, you can tell that you're.
people have been hitting me up on Snapchat saying, "Hey, when's your next 30 for 30 on your cows going to be?" But I just, without saying that there's going to be a sale, I've just been trying to come up with ways for people to get acquainted with those cow families, and so that
Hmm.
way they're familiar with them when the sale comes out, and they can be like, "Oh, well, this one goes back to her. We're going to be in here," and I just want them to be familiar and have the knowledge, because I'm not going to have the time to be able to do like a sale catalog. So
Hmm.
the information given on SC and what I do on Facebook is where everybody will get their supplement information.
Two great places to get all that stuff. But
Sure.
yeah, you've got some writing to do and things to go from now till when you guys get this posted. Do you know when it'll be open and posted, like officially posted with those lots? Do you know what date that'll be?
Sure. So we're gonna typically I don't like to post those sales except for like a week out from sale day.
Hmm.
But with this one, with as many as we're offering, with the type of sale that it is, and not having a catalog, I want to get the word out early. So we're, like I said, we're picturing and videoing here at the end of April. As soon as I can finish my write-ups, do the sale order, get the sale posted. It may even be 3 weeks before sale day, but as soon as it's ready, I want to go ahead and get it posted so we can start advertising it. People get out there and have opportunity to come look. Like I said, there's nothing to hide on these cattle. I have, generations of records on them, and so I just I want to give everybody the most time and opportunity to make their best informed decision if they're wanting to jump in and bid on something.
Right. Yeah. I think that's cool. I think it's exciting and really neat and yeah, get those out early. So it's not 2 days before and
Sure.
they got to make a snap decision, right? So I think that's great. Kolten, anything else we need to know before we wrap this thing up?
Man, I just wanted to appreciate and thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited to unveil the sale through this podcast. I hope people receive it well. I know there'll be a lot of questions. I hope this answers a lot of them because I'm going to have to answer why a million times on the phone, I bet, which is good because people know that this is my heart and that I'm passionate about this. And so maybe it's a way that I can share my faith with others, and that's the reason behind it. And, that would be okay with me. And so I'm excited to see what happens because it's going to be big. God doesn't shake you up out of your comfort zone like this for no reason. And so I'm excited to see what happens, see where it goes, and just grateful for the opportunity.
Well, we love giving you that opportunity to put it out there on this podcast, and man, I'm excited about that, and
Yeah.
I think that's great, and man, we appreciate you for letting us do that and get it out there, and man, I'm excited for you, excited about this sale, excited to see how it'll go, and as I told you guys, we're on we're doing a Facebook Messenger video, and you ought to see the look on this guy's face. You can tell he's excited. You can tell he's kind of hurting when he's talking about these because it's something that he is excited about, but something that he is reluctant to do. But you can just see it on his face, and I wish you guys could see that because the guy means business. And he's done such a good job, and he's got so much passion that you can just see all over his face. So, Kolten, May 27th, SC Online, that's the place to be.
Yes,
Come see him beforehand. And again, want to wish you luck and want to thank you so much for being a repeat here on the podcast.
Yeah.
And so we just hope everybody enjoys it and gets out there and listens to it and shares it everybody and watches the podcast video. If you are not watching the podcast video at the time, we got it on our YouTube channel or we'll have it on Facebook or anything like that. So we hope that you'll do that. So Kolten, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we want to thank you for listening to another edition of Before the Bid podcast. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Before the Bid. For more information and to learn more about upcoming podcasts and sales, visit us at beforethebid.podbean.com or Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram pages. For information on being a guest on Before the Bid, please email us at beforethebid@gmail.com or one of our social media pages. Remember, that's beforethebid@gmail.com. Happy sales to you, and we will talk to you next time on Before the Bid.